So recently I took a trip to New York, and for those who don't already know, that's my hometown and home city. We flew up because my sister had a gymnastics competition. It was the first one of the season. The trip started like any other trip, which means airplanes. And don't get me wrong, I love airplanes, but after having done flights that lasted about 24 hours, well, the excitement's a little bit gone. Luckily I had my sister and the trusty MacBook to keep me entertained. We're sitting on the runway in Miami because we're flying to Miami and transferring out to New York. And we have to wait. And it's really, really annoying. Oh, we're moving now.
We need to keep your luggage out of the center aisle, please, until we park at the gate.
Okay. So even though my love for airplanes has kind of died off, I still really love that feeling you get when you fly over the city you're about to land in. Because it kind of feels like a homecoming, and no matter how long I've been away from New York, every time I go back, it still feels familiar. Finally, after what seemed like forever being trapped in that giant metal bird, we finally arrived to LaGuardia and we were all pretty much exhausted. For the most part, Pamela's meet went pretty well. It was the first meet of the season, so we weren't expecting something perfect, but for the most part, she did a pretty good job. After the competing was over, we got to have some real fun. We drove out to Manhattan because, well, I kind of love the city. And even though I've probably driven by those stores like a billion times, that giddy feeling that I get never really goes away. And to be honest, there isn't really much I don't like about the city. I love the skyscrapers, I love the graffiti, I even love the subway. Well, to an extent. I guess I even sort of like the grody little pigeons, but mostly because I can't imagine them not being there. The never-ending parade of taxis never really gets old either. And God, neither do the hot dog stands. As weird as it is, I actually really love those vendor foods. I don't know why. This part's not really important, but I thought it was kind of weird that there was a store called The Art of Shaving. Eventually, Daddy took me by Central Park, which is kind of like my home away from home. I've been going there like ever since I could remember. I was really excited to see snow, and I guess it's mostly because I haven't seen snow in a really long time. Living in a tropical state kind of does that. There really is this big contrast between New York and Florida. I mean, even the buildings in New York kind of interest me more than the palm trees we have down here. And maybe it's because I was born up there that kind of gives me this attachment, but I just really love this city. I did end up going home though, but I was back in New York about a week and a half later. It was for my dad's surprise party for his birthday, but it was upstate, so it was kind of just trees and open spaces.
Chinese New Year in Chinatown, confetti everywhere.
A couple days after my dad's birthday, we ended up going back to this.
Very crowded as well, but that's to be expected. A lot of people popping poppers. Trying to find somewhere to eat. Not going successfully. This is going to take forever to clean up. My question is simply why Mansfield first?
Overall, I'd say it was a pretty good trip. I got to go back to a place that I really loved that I hadn't seen in a while. It's kind of like seeing old relatives after not being able to be with them for a long time. And it kind of got me thinking that no matter how far you go from your hometown, going back is always really familiar. And I guess that never really goes away.